political and military process that allowed the separation of the Panamanian territory from the Spanish Empire. What was the independence of Panama? Panama's independence is known as the political and military process that allowed the separation of the Panamanian territory from the Spanish Empire. This emancipation process began with the Grito de la Villa de los Santos on November 10, 1821, and concluded with the Proclamation of Independence, which took place on November 28 of the same year. Once the colonial bond was broken, Panama voluntarily joined Gran Colombia, of which it was part until 1903, when it became an independent state. Development of Panama's independence. The emancipation movement began with the Grito de la Villa de los Santos, which took place on November 10, 1821. During this event, the patriot Segundo Villarreal led a volunteer battalion that attacked the jail and the local garrison to free the political prisoners of the colonial regime. The separation was supported by the towns of Nata de los Caballeros, Peñonome, Oque, Perita, and San Francisco de Veraguas, among others. Upon learning of what had happened, the Creole Colonel José de Fabrega, who was interim head of the government of the Isthmus, called a meeting of civil, military, and ecclesiastical authorities. There it was agreed to raise funds to arm a military force that could resist any attempt of retaliation on the part of the Royalists. On November 28, Fabrega summoned an open cabildo that proclaimed the independence of Panama. This took place without bloodshed, since the Spanish military garrisons, diminished by the transfer of soldiers to other regions of America, surrendered without fighting. After the rupture of the colonial bond was consummated, the people of Panama decided to voluntarily join Gran Colombia, which included Venezuela, Ecuador, and New Granada. This decision was motivated by the lack of economic resources, the limited military weapons available to the Panamanians, and the fear of military reprisals from the Spanish crown. The Panamanians were also seduced by the prestige of the liberator Simón Bolívar, who in the Letter of Jamaica, 1815, had proposed to designate Panama City as the seat of a permanent Congress of the representatives of the new Latin American nations. Causes and consequences of Panama's independence. Among the causes of Panama's independence, the following stand out: the rivalry between the Peninsulars and the Creoles, who competed for access to the most important positions in the colonial administration. The influence of the ideas spread by the Enlightenment and the French Revolution, especially those of freedom and equality before the law. The independence of Haiti, in 1804, which offered the Panamanian patriots an early example of the possibility of breaking away from colonial domination. The weakness of the position of the Hispanic crown in the American continent, as a consequence of the Napoleonic invasion of Spain and the struggle between liberals and absolutists after the return to the throne of Ferdinand VII in 1814. The discontent of Panamanian merchants due to the cancellation of free trade, which had been established in 1808. The transfer of the military chief of the Isthmus, Marshal Juan de la Cruz Mergen Yque, who in October 1821 traveled to New Granada to fight the independence rebels and in his absence left in command the Creole José de Fabrega. The influence of the independence preaching of Creole leaders such as Francisco Miranda, Simón Bolívar, and Antonio José de Sucre, among others. Consequences. The main consequences of the proclamation of Panama's independence were the following. The end of Spanish domination in the area of the Isthmus of Panama. The integration of Panama to the Gran Colombia, which was maintained without fissures until 1830. From then on, several local political leaders proposed the segregation and the constitution of a completely independent state. Bolívar's recognition of the work carried out by José de Fabrega, to whom he granted the title of Liberator of the Isthmus and appointed civil and military chief. The signing of a peace treaty, on January 4, 1822, between José de Fabrega and the Spanish captains José de Villegas and Joaquín de Soroa. This non-aggression agreement established the peaceful withdrawal of all the troops of the Hispanic crown from Panamanian territory. Protagonists of the independence of Panama. Among the protagonists of the struggle for the emancipation of Panama, the following stand out. Segundo Villarreal, Isthmian landowner and merchant born in the Villa de Los Santos. Los Santos. In 1810 he served as mayor of his hometown. On November 10, 1821 he organized the population to take the local garrison. After the proclamation of independence he was appointed political and military governor at the request of the people. Rufina Alfaro, name given to a legendary patriot from Isthmus, who is supposed to have lived in the first half of the 19th century. According to some authors, she acted as a spy for the Patriots in the local garrison. On November 10, 1821, seeing that the Spanish soldiers did not have their weapons ready, he would have signaled the conspirators to surround the barracks, which surrendered without fighting. José de Fabrega, politician and military man from Isthmus, one of the main leaders of the movement that concluded with the separation of Panama from the Spanish Empire. In 1821 he convoked an open cabildo, which proclaimed the emancipation and wrote the Act of Independence. Mariano Orozmena, politician, writer and journalist from Isthmus. In 1820 he founded La Miscelánea del Istmo, the first newspaper in Panama, from whose pages he spread pro-independence ideas. He was one of the signers of the Act of Independence.